Hello again. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to share a recipe or an ingredient with another user or group on the CultureLabs platform. So, we begin by signing in with the account that we want to share. For this example, we will use the account with the name George, as we can see here. We want to share a recipe, so we go to our recipe section here. We see that we have two recipes created with that user, with George. We will try to share this recipe, the art-based initiatives. So we click on the share button. This takes us to the sharing window where we decide whether we want to share our recipe with a single user or a group. For this example, we will use a single user, and here we type the name of the user that we want to share it with. For this example, we will use Steve74. We should remind you again that all user names for the users and the groups are case sensitive, so we must know exactly how the name is spelled. In this window here, we decide whether to give the user that we share the recipe with viewing rights or editing rights. For this example, we will use viewing rights. We click on share. We receive a notification that the recipe is shared with the user that we have chosen. And now if we go to the other user here, Steve73, we see that we have received one new notification for as a user as Steve73. The reason that you see a different name up here is because on CultureLabs, every time you log in, the name that appears here on the upper right corner is whichever name we have used as a first name when we first signed up, when we created the account. So this Stavros account is in fact Steve74, the user that we shared the recipe with. So in other words, if someone creates an account and uses the same name both as a username and a first name, we won't see any difference here. So we go to our notifications here. We see in the notifications that we see the name of the recipe that was shared. We see the user that shared the recipe. In this case, it was George. And we see the type of rights that was set for this share. It was just viewing reading rights. And if we go to the recipe section here, we see the recipe that was shared with user Steve73 by user George.